Well, folks, welcome back to Gale Force Wins. We're extremely excited to have our next guest on the podcast in advance of the Mineral Resources Review. The Mineral Resources Review conference and exhibition is happening November 5th to the 8th in St. John's, Newfoundland. It's Newfoundland's preeminent mining conference. A lot of topics are going to be covered. And one of the thought leadership sponsors for day 3 is Calibre Mining. And I'm excited to have Ryan King on. Ryan, if you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about the company, and we'll take the conversation from there.
Well, good morning, Jerry, and it's a pleasure to be on Gale Force Wins. As always, we appreciate your continued support and detailed analysis and interviews, so it's great to be on. Yeah, my name is Ryan King, as you mentioned, Senior Vice President of Corporate Development and Investor Relations with Calibre. Been with the company since we started it, actually many years ago, but since we became a gold producer and acquired assets in Central America in 2019. And a little bit on Calibre is we've really evolved over the last few years. The focus and the goal for Calibre was to become, when we started out, was to become a quality mid-tier gold producer with a focus on cash flow growth, but doing this responsibly and safely. And our journey has been that. And with the inclusion of the Valentine gold mine in Newfoundland, Canada, this is diversifying the portfolio and putting us into this mid-tier gold producer status. So very exciting time for the company.
Wow, what an introduction, Ryan. You know, it's exciting for me personally. You know, Gale Force Wins, as I said before we record, we travel around the world. We've met people in various corners that are doing this and that. And one of the things I find very exciting is the fact that this is in the home province that I, have grown up in and continue to operate from. Tell us a little bit about what this mine means to Newfoundland and Labrador and potentially Canada and the rest of the world.
Yeah, sure. So, firstly, I'll talk maybe just a little bit about the project and the importance of the project for us. Is that the project now is at an 81% complete in terms of its construction. So it's come a long way, even from January when we acquired the asset from Marathon Gold. And maybe some of your audience will be familiar with Marathon Gold. But yeah, so Valentine today is a 5 million ounce open pit project in the central region of Newfoundland. And hundreds of millions of dollars have now been invested into the project. We've got all of the key environmental approvals for the 3-pit mine plan. and the view or the vision here is that with the inclusion of the Valentine mine coming online in Q2 of 2025, this will transform our company in the sense that we really diversified the portfolio for all of our stakeholders. So we're not just a one asset, one producing jurisdiction. 55, I think it's over 55% of our net asset value will be coming out of North America because of the assets we have in the US, and now predominantly because of the assets we have in the central region of Newfoundland. So it's very exciting. And this, for Newfoundland, is going to be the largest open pit gold mine in the province. It is Atlantic Canada's largest open pit gold mine. And so it's been a real transformation, I think, seeing the asset evolve from the discovery of Leprechaun in 2010, 2011, through to marathons, the pit marathon discovery in 2015, 16. And so, the marathon folks were focused on those two pits. And they were going ahead with a mine plan. They were going ahead with engineering. And then through condemnation, what condemnation drilling is looking for where to put the pit so they wouldn't sterilize mineralization. They discovered the Berry pit. So this now become a 3-pit mine plan. But what's exciting is what that tells us is we could be in the very early stages of a gold camp, of a gold district. So for the province of Newfoundland, this is fantastic because you've got the opportunity for a lot of jobs. You've got opportunity for real economic diversification because of what could be, a very major gold camp. And just a bit of context here is that you look at these types of geological settings, these prolific orogenic, this is known as an orogenic gold deposit. You look at the faulting, first order, second order faulting on this system. So faulting is important because it provides the fluid flow. It provides that plumbing opportunity. And you look at gold camps around the world and similar settings with similar geology in Ontario, in Quebec. They are, they've been explored for over 100 years. And we're talking about camps that are, 30 to 60 plus million ounces of gold. And here is Calibre with the Valentine gold mine in Newfoundland that is, has a 5 million ounce base. And we're heavily investing into exploration to see what does this full belt look like. So it's incredibly exciting in what I believe, and what we all believe, is the very early innings of a gold district.
Ryan, just so exciting. I mean, prior to hitting record, I mentioned to you that 2 years ago, I sat and we talked to Eric Sprott, and he described it as being like a feather, and all the gold deposits disseminate out throughout the feather. I can't remember what he called them. What do you call those? Like veins, I guess.
Veins, yeah, veins.
Yeah, well, and for me, not knowing the industry, it was a great illustration of what the potential is here. The other thing he talked about is the Trans-Canada Highway cuts in the middle.
Yeah.
Tell us, I think about some of the Ontario mines, and you're pretty far north. How do you, once you get it out of the ground, how do you get it to market? Like, is it because Newfoundland's on an island that makes it even better? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I guess, one of the aspects here and one of the concerns that we had was getting, first of all, was getting employees. We weren't sure going into this how that would be. And, how it was structured originally was, and there's an agreement in place with the province to be focused on people from Newfoundland, which is great in terms of employees. And I think that we've got a lot of opportunities. But what our concern was finding that operational leadership to lead this team and lead this operating asset. And, so far this year, we've put most of, if not almost all of the key people in place from a senior leadership perspective to lead a great team. And these folks have years and years of experience of operating mines. So Calibre has attracted, but it's also Newfoundland, because of the attractiveness of Newfoundland to, in some cases, come back home. A lot of folks had been on a rotation where they're living in Newfoundland. They have to fly out, go to work, and fly home. This is an opportunity where we've got a lot of local talent that has the opportunity to stay on the island, to stay home, and you're still going back and forth from site in a rotation, but you're in your home province. So attracting that talent is key, and we've found that we're getting good pickup there. We're getting good people. We've got good leadership in place now, so that's key in order to get to that delivery, right? To getting the product to the market. And this operation will be such that it will produce doré bars. So this is, as you talked about, the Trans-Canada Highway. We'll produce doré bars on site. We'll have relationships in place with refiners. Security will come and pick up the gold from site, which will be in a gold room, right? A secure gold room that then will transport the product out to market off the island, just through regular means of transportation. And it's important because a lot of areas are very remote and have challenging infrastructure. But in the setting that we're at is that we've got, as you mentioned, great road networks in Newfoundland. Actually, the Trans-Canada Highway, we've got a spur of I think it's about a 70, 80 kilometer road off the main highway, which we are responsible for. But it's fantastic because a lot of areas are hundreds of kilometers away from main infrastructure, power at site, of course, roads. So we're in a really good position to get those gold bars out to the market. We're not transporting a concentrate. These are gold bars that we refine on site, and then they go to the market to get further refined.
Wow. Ryan, it's amazing to hear you talk. As I said, I've grown up in this province, and history of challenging economic issues. To hear you talk about the leadership team that you've put together, the fact that you're attracting talent from all over the world to get here is very exciting. I'm going to talk a little bit about next week. So next week you have a presence at the Mineral Resources Review. That's a collaborative effort between the Newfoundland and Labrador branch, the Canadian Institute of Mining, Metallurgy and Petroleum, and the Department of Energy and Technology for the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. I've done some work. We did work with you guys in the Central Minix and Gander last year, and we were there the year before. Tell us a little bit about, what it means to Calibre to be a thought leadership sponsor of our podcast, and B, to be in the room with the people that are going to make this industry better.
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible responsibility here, building Atlantic Canada's largest open pit mine. And the focus for us is doing it the right way, the safe way. And as we just talked about, we've got a great team in place that can deliver that. And so the plan is that, as we're inching through as we advancing through the next steps here, so we're at 81% now. By the early Q1 of next year, we'll be through mechanical completion. That's the plan, and electrical completion. So we'll start commissioning. We're starting all the commissioning work now, but we'll really start getting the plant up and running in Q1, Q2. Will be first gold. And so, there's this stage that we're at today where there's a lot of eyeballs on this opportunity, this asset, this company, because of what it is bringing from an economic diversification. So we need to make sure that that we are very focused on delivering that, but delivering it safely and ensuring that there's transparency with all the stakeholders involved, employees, and all stakeholders that are involved in this. And it's a big responsibility, and this is our first foray into Canada, so we want to make sure we do it right, and deliver the asset as expected. But not only that, but garner the trust of the stakeholders in the communities, such that they know that we are doing this responsibly and correctly, but also with what could come from an expansion opportunity in the years to come. So we have to demonstrate, as we've done in other operations around the world, really demonstrated that we make sure that we have a very transparent and open dialogue with our communities, a very transparent social license to operate, incorporating all of our stakeholders and communities into the operations. And I think if you look at Calibre, in terms of our existing operations, you'd see that. So this is an opportunity for our local team there to really interact with all those stakeholders, to interact with the province, interact with the regulators, and then an opportunity for all those folks to hear how things are going, to hear what's happening from an exploration, construction, and operation perspective, and obviously to meet with those key leaders that are going to be leading the operation for the next several decades.
Ryan, I'm going to let the audience know that you're in Vancouver. I'm in Newfoundland. You must have been up at 5:30 this morning to get on this podcast. What I want to tell people is that this is the type of leadership that is happening within the Calibre Group. Ryan King has gotten on this podcast at an ungodly hour to show and tell people, what is happening. Ryan, on that note, just any final words you'd like to say in advance of the Mineral Resources Review next week, or on anything related to what you're doing?
Yeah, no, I think it's really important to be grateful for this opportunity, right? We're in a great position. We appreciate the hospitality. It's been a lot of hard work to get here. But I do want to say that I think it's really important to recognize the very senior leadership, the CEO of the company, Darren Hall, who's been a thought leader for over 30 years in the mining business. He's worked in many different jurisdictions around the world. And it's really critical and important for him to do this the right way, to be responsible, transparent, and incorporate all of our local communities to bring them along in this project. And he's a gentleman that I respect, and he will ensure that we do it the right way in the most responsible way, but also so his view to expand and diversify. Really, it's going to be, we need to maximize the value from a stakeholder perspective of this asset before we do anything else. So we're not going to get distracted on new and shiny things. We are really focused on delivering this and then operating this. And he will be present in future events. So it won't be available next week, but future events. So and we'll look to have an exciting opening for the mine next year sometime, and we'll let a lot of the communities and stakeholders and regulators know about that. But I think that's important to know that we all look up to the leader of the company, the chief executive officer. And I've worked with him for many, many years now, and I just think that he's the type of guy that will do this ethically, responsibly. And so that's really important to me and to our team. And we've got a very supportive board behind us to do this. So this is a big step for our company, but we have to do it correctly, and we have to do it such that employees feel empowered and all of that. So no, I'm excited about this opportunity. It's a time in our evolution where everyone is watching closely, is cautiously optimistic, but is anxious at the same time. As you build a new mine, it is a major, major step. I think, as we've said to the market, our estimated cost of completion to get to first gold is 750 million Canadian dollars. So that's what we've invested, not including sunk capital, i.e. capital from an engineering, permitting, and exploring perspective. But that's just the beginning. That is just the beginning to get to economic diversification within the province, because we will continue to invest in the asset and to ensure sustainability, longevity, and also maybe in the future, we may have another mill on site. We may have another set of deposits and assets. And I think that's why this is such a critically important step for us to do this safely, responsibly, and correctly, and have a great social license to operate within the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Wow. Ryan, as you described your CEO, what'd you say his name was again?
Darren Hall.
I would love to sit with Darren at some point, and explore some of those ideas that make him tick. It's exciting for me to listen to you because, as you said, not easy to do what you're doing, and you're on the ground floor of building something special. A little point about next week: Calibre Mining is sponsoring thought leadership at the Mineral Resources Review on day 3. That's November 7th. I would encourage anyone who's watching this to drop by that booth. Our booth, the Gale Force Winds booth, will be right out front. Calibre Mining's logo will be there, and deliver some of your thought leadership, because it's important to have sponsors like you, Ryan, to help people understand the depth and the breadth of the opportunity here. And for that, we are truly thankful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. Really a pleasure to be on. Look forward to it, and absolutely, Darren would be delighted to have an interview.